What's wrong with this current generation being born? Honestly, if we're going to be real, is they were raised by people who didn't understand emotional intelligence.
Oh,
So a lot of the people raising them thought it was okay to whoop their kids with belts and call them bitches and call them stupid when they did something wrong. And then when that child grew up and exhibited that same behavior and returned that same dialect, we were disrespectful. But in reality, we were simply being what we were taught. So what's wrong with this generation is that, unfortunately, the people who raised it were not yet prepared to.
I totally agree with everything she said in that video. The parents of millennials did a very terrible job at raising millennials. The parents of millennials never had emotional connection with their kids. They thought the best way to raise their kids or to make their kids well behaved was to make their kids terrified and be afraid of them. So they did that in several ways, like beating the kids, which have affected millennials in a lot of ways that we millennials even think. Now it's reflecting in the way we raise our kids. Now millennials are not even doing worse, like they're not becoming even worse parents than their parents without even knowing it. Hi besties, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about something really important, which is parenting. As a millennial myself, I know how challenging it can be to navigate the world of parenting. So today we are going to be diving into some reasons why millennials are struggling with parenting.
I'm hesitant to call out an entire generation because it's not just this generation that has a problem, but it's predominantly what I see. So I will say this, when we're having discourse around why kids are the way that they are, why they can't read, etc., I honestly believe it's because millennials could not wait to have babies. Social media, specifically Instagram, was really booming in 2011, 12, 13, 14, when we were kind of all starting to have kids. And when that happened, all I saw millennials caring about was what their babies looked like on social media, what their clothes were, what their outfits looked like, what their hair looked like, because all people cared about at the time was how their family appeared on a social media feed, instead of learning about what childhood development was, childhood education, navigating social emotional learning, things like that, and kind of teaching your kiddo to understand where their emotions are coming from and how to navigate those feelings, and unlearning your own childhood trauma and unpacking that and creating well-rounded kiddos and reading to your kids and doing all of that. You guys only gave a shit about what they appear to look like on social media. And so now we have these kids who are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 navigating the real world with no social skills because you guys didn't teach them that. You sat them down with a fucking iPad and said, learn it yourself, while you sat on your phone and scrolled to make sure that your life was perceived a certain way on social media. And that is exactly the reason why kids are the way that they are. And before you say, are you a parent? No, I'm in social work and I have been for 7 years, and now I'm a nanny. And I will tell you this exactly what happened. You guys sat there and expected iPads to do the work, and guess what? They did not.
Millennials are terrible parents. That's what I keep hearing on this app. But I heard a creator talk about why this might be, and I literally couldn't have put it into better words myself. We are suffering from information overload. It's something that I've thought for a very long time as somebody who has been trying to gentle parent, conscious parent, respectful parent, and it feels very much like a paralysis by analysis scenario. I am terrified of fucking up my kids. Terrified that I'm going to traumatize them in some way. Having gone through therapy and learning all of the things that I now learned about my childhood and how they affect me as an adult, I am trying my hardest not to make that happen to my kids. And while I don't think millennials are terrible parents, I truly don't. I think we are overloaded with information, and there's too much. There's too much information all the time from every angle, and we can't figure out and trust ourselves. I think we can take the foundations of conscious and gentle and respectful parenting and couple it with what our gut says to do. Because a lot of times I find myself second guessing every single thing that I do when it comes to my kids. Should I have done this? Should I have done that? Should I have said this? Should I have said that? And then I just beat myself up about it regardless of which decision I choose. I think millennials are parenting at a time where there is information constantly available to them, and it is causing them undue stress and an inability to parent how they actually want to parent and to trust themselves in doing so.
Millennials are not trying to be emotionally connected with their kids in the way that they wanted their own parents to be emotionally connected with them, which they are now overdoing it.
Some of you new age millennial parents are the worst parents I've ever seen in my entire life. Recently, I went on a trip to see family for Thanksgiving, right? And where I was, there was a mall, and in the mall was a store called Spencer's. Now, I actually got my shirt from Spencer's. They make pretty hard shirts, but they're not known famously for their shirts. They're known as a store that caters to the needs of adults sexually, right? So I'm in the store looking around at the shirts and all the other stuff they got. In comes this woman with her child. Looks like a 6, maybe 7-year-old boy, right? For one, that boy should have never even been in that store because, again, that store is for adults only. But that woman let her child walk through there, and her child ended up picking a toy. It was definitely not a kid toy. And the woman thought it was so funny and so cute to where she pulls her phone out to take a picture, and she even had the nerve to put the flash on so everybody in the store could see it. So I guess she's taking a few pictures. She also is taking some video of it, thinking it's funny. And after a while, she's done with the pictures and video. Her son throws the toy down on the ground, and then they just take off out the store. You parents, some of you parents have got to do better. Like, people begin to wonder why kids are going in schools reciting inappropriate song lyrics, ski and pound town and all this other stuff. That's why, because you parents will just let your kids do whatever. And guess what? When that little boy turns 13, 14, 15, and he's getting into all kinds of trouble acting crazy, that mother's going to be wondering why. That's on you, man. So you parents have got to do better. Stop being your kid's friend. Stop letting your kid do whatever. Stop letting your kid go wherever. Stop letting your kid listen to whatever. Do better, because so many kids nowadays are out of control, and it's because of y'all.
Millennial parents, we're ruining our children, and I'm going to tell you why. Because my children now are adults, and I can see a little bit of the error of the ways. Millennials, we grew up with boomer parents, and boomer parents, we all know, we loved our childhood. We were thrown out of the house all day long. Parents never really explained things to us, and that kind of ruined us, you know? So we said, when we have kids, we're going to explain things to our children, and we're going to get their buy-in. And then at the same time, we're going to have them come in and come out, do what they want, you know? We're going to change it. I now see the error of my ways when we're explaining to our children every single thing and every decision, because now they have buy-in. And because they have buy-in, they have a word. And sometimes it don't need to be like that. Sometimes this is the law. This is my house, and this is what needs to get done. Kind of like what our boomer parents said to us, right? So my 20-year-old is living with us again. Love it. I'm super happy that he's here. I love it that he can come back to us. But he kind of has a say. He feels like he has a say about getting a job and sitting on the couch all day playing video games on his phone. And I'm like, no, you need to get up, find a job today. And he was not prepared for it. And that's my fault. I didn't prepare him for that. I did not prepare him for the ruggedness of the real world, kind of producing that safe space that our parents didn't provide for us. But I realize now that our boomer parents may have not done the best job explaining things and getting us to buy in, but they gave us grit. And it's terrifying that some of my kids do not have grit. Some of my kids do not do well in social settings, just like me. I get it. We have social anxiety, but you still have to go to work. You still have to provide for yourself. You still have to pay for your food. And I get it. It's hard out there. Rents are high. Food is high, but you still have to go out and still try to provide for yourself. And it's hard when they grew up with a mentality that they didn't have to. They had to be kids. And now they're adults and they don't know how to be adults. And it's my fault. It's all fault. I'm seeing a lot of millennial parents are exactly the same in position we are. They have 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old kids. And they're like, damn, these kids don't know how to, they don't have driver's licenses. A lot of them don't know how to cook their own food anymore. A lot of them are super dependent on their parents because we just kind of grew up with a little bit more coddling than our boomer parents. Jesus Christ. So if you're my son and you're watching this, you need to get up. You need to get a job. It's no longer an option. We love you, but it's time to get up. And no, we're not going to pick you up because your stomach hurts. Figure it out. Work through it. My parents never picked me up, and I'm not picking you up either. Love you. Hopefully you get a job soon. Okay, love you. Bye.
Here's how millennials are going to fuck up their kids. As an attachment therapist, the consensus in our community is that it's going to be through phones, and I'm going to show you how phones are going to fuck things up. I'll just show you is called the still face experiment, and full disclosure, it pulls on your heartstrings to watch it. Okay, so what you're going to see here is a mom engaging with her baby who's a little under 1 year old. Because the baby is nonverbal, it's critical that mom is paying attention and using attunement to sync up and communicate and signal with her baby. You're going to see the baby point and mom follows. And by mom following, she's signaling to the baby, I am with you. You can see mom and daughter are really connected and in sync here, which is so important because remember, babies can't self-regulate until around age 2. They are completely dependent on mom's nervous system. Okay, so now what's happening is the experimenters have asked the mother to keep her face still so that mom is not actively attuning to the baby and not empathically responding to her baby. Get this, what this is to the baby is signals of rejection. The baby is making bids to get mom's attention, mom's affection, mom's engagement, and she's getting rejected. Everything she is trying to do to get mom's attention, she's trying to point, she's making squeals, and everything she's doing is getting rejected by her mom. And that rejection is distressing. You see, she starts to dysregulate and she physically loses control of her body and she tries to squirm her way out of that chair because the pain of disconnecting from mom and not being able to co-regulate with her is so intense. And that was what, like a 2-minute clip in the experiment? Now imagine that mom her face is still and yet she's holding a phone. Baby is right there trying to get bids for mom's connection and attunement and co-regulation, and mom is not giving it. If you are not giving your children that attunement, that empathic connection, then they're going to go get it from someone else. You have control over this. Who do you want them to get their attunement and connection from? You or someone else?
I just seen somebody say, millennials, we messed up as parents because we don't have that follow-through energy. And let me tell you, if this ain't the truth, you know how many empty threats I throw at my son? But see, my parents and they parents, when they said something, they meant it. I remember I got in trouble in school for pulling the fire alarm. Somebody made a bet that I wouldn't do it, and I'm not finna back down from nobody. The school called my dad. They went past mom and they called my dad with my heart beating so fast. And the teacher handed me the phone after telling him what I did. He said the 7 most dreadful words you would ever hear. You know you're getting a whooping, right? My dad came home, ordered a pizza, and sat in front of the TV because Monday Night Football was on. He seemed like he in a good mood, so I'm thinking maybe it's a good chance he forgot about giving me a whooping. I went to sleep and I thought I escaped the beating. All of a sudden, when I got really comfortable, the lights came on. And I saw a hand reaching down to me from the heavens with a belt in it. And it came down on me with the strength of God. And he said the famous words, "You thought I forgot, didn't you?" My father promised me a whooping at 12:56 p.m. He fulfilled that promise at 1 o'clock in the morning. That is a level of follow through that I don't think any millennial really has. Half of us do our kids' chores with them. Imagine my father working a 12-hour shift and helping me do the dishes. That would have been worse than when he helped me with my homework.
Millennials are now struggling with parenting because a lot of millennials are leaving their kids to be raised by the internet. Like they give their kids iPad from a very young age, and these kids are attached to the iPads. These kids are becoming disrespectful. And you hear these parents tell you, my kids are spoken. No, ma'am, your kid is disrespectful. There's a difference between a spoken and when your child is disrespectful. Because a lot of these parents do not even take their time to teach their kids how to have emotional intelligence anymore. They don't teach their kids. A lot of millennials are now becoming lazy parents, which in a way you cannot even blame them, because a lot of our parents, while our parents back then when they were raising us, they had a lot of support. They have a lot of support system while raising us. But the millennials right now do not have the support system like the support system our parents had then. A lot of millennial parents are left alone to raise their kids, which have left a lot of them burn out, like they're tired. They're gradually becoming lazy. Even the stay-at-home moms too, like the kids don't have respect. You tell them to do this, they're doing the other one. You take the iPad from them, oh, they are crying. What's going on? What's going on? Like, millennial parents needs to do better. A lot of the kids cannot do anything apart from their phones. They don't have any other life. They should stop trying to paint a picture perfect family. Millennials parents, they're like, they should just raise their kids. Leave the iPhone, leave the internet. Raise your kids. Try to teach them emotional intelligence. Build emotional connection with them. Find a way to raise your kids right. I know our parents did a terrible job by making us being terrified of them. We are doing worse than our parents. Our kids are not terrified of us. They don't respect us. They don't have respect. Find a way to teach your kids respect without you beating them. Just look for a way without you destroying their mental health. Millennial parents needs to do better because you need to look at the society right now. Kids are terrible. We have terrible kids. If you know you're not ready to be a parent and you cannot be a parent, please do not struggle. Do not even force yourself to be a parent. Because being a parent is, I don't even know what to say. Please do not struggle to be a parent. Have one child. Take care of that one. Have two. Do not go more than you can do as a mom. Even the stay-at-home moms. You leave your kids for the internet to raise. And the internet is raising terrible kids. Internet is raising bullies. Please, millennials, we can do better. Can you imagine our kids are doing worse than worse than us? That means we are doing worse than our parents. We did worse than our parents. We complain our parents did not raise us well. Our parents were action us and all that. And we want to be soft on our kids. We want to do gentle parenting is not working. Gentle parenting is not working. It's not working. We need to do better. We need to look for a way to solve this issue on ground. Gentle parenting is not working. The iPad obviously is not working because the internet cannot raise your kids for you. You have to raise your kid yourself. You have to teach them emotional intelligence. You have to teach them respect. You need to teach them to stand up for themselves, but they need to also be respectful. Because a lot of kids these days cannot even read and write. A lot of kids, they have not even started the main world. They have not even gone into the world. A lot of kids are failure already. Excuse you? Please, let's do better as parents. I'm a millennial myself. I'm a mom myself. So trust me, I know what I'm saying. Raising kids in this 2024 or in this time that we are is hard, I know. But when we need help, we should learn to ask for help when we need help. We should learn to ask for help from our parents, aunties. I know they might give you something that sounds terrible, but you can just look for a way to pick one or two out of what the advice they give and use it. They'll always say you need a whole village to raise a child. You cannot do that all by yourself as a mom. It's obviously draining you. Please, millennials, let's sit up and do better than our parents. So guys, I hope I made a little sense out of all these things I just said. Please do not forget to like the video. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Please, besties, subscribe to the channel. Help me grow my channel. Please help me. And do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comment section. Are millennials doing terrible job than their parents, or they're doing better job than their parents? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Bye, besties. Thank you.